Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we are going to be doing a deep dive of the brand spanking new Krieg Command Squad. And let me tell you, I really like this unit. I think it is fantastic. I think it has so much flavor, as well as bursting with tactical potential on the tabletop. So you know what? Let's not mess around any further. I am super excited to talk about this unit. Let's fix bayonets, grab our shovels, and charge right into this thing.
Good news, everyone! Bolt Action 3rd edition is just around the corner. And the best way that you can prepare for this new and exciting edition of one of my favorite games of all time is by getting yourself some new Bolt Action miniatures. But where can you get these models? Well, don't worry, I've got you covered. There's an affiliate link down in the description below that'll take you straight to the Warlord Games website, and you can get your World War II miniature fix right from the source. By using the affiliate link down in the description below, not only will you be getting some awesome models, but you will also be supporting the channel. A massive thank you to Warlord Games for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back into the action.
Let us begin with a cheeky gander of the stat line. So we have got two stat lines. One is for the Lord Commissar and one is for his attendants. Now the Lord Commissar has got movement 6, toughness 3, 5 plus save, 3 wounds, leadership 6, and objective control 1. Now that leadership 6 is actually really nice. That is an extra leadership over most other officers and command squads in this codex. And don't forget that when taking battle shock tests, you use the best leadership in the unit. So not only is that going to affect his command squad, but if you have him leading a big squad of Kriegers, then they also will benefit from his leadership 6. That's really, really tasty. It means you're more likely to pass orders, means you're more likely to do battle shock, just means you're more likely to be able to crack on. I would say it's a bit of a shame that the Lord Commissar does not have an invulnerable save. I mean, the regular Commissar has a 5% invulnerable save. It seems kind of crazy that he doesn't, but it does make sense from a balance perspective. After all, none of the other command squads have got a invulnerable save on their commanders, and this unit is already a little bit more durable thanks to the fact that it's slightly bigger. It comes with the Lord Commissar and 5 veteran guardsmen, whereas the other command squads come with 1 commander and only 4 veterans. Speaking of the veterans, they have got a movement of 6, toughness 3, save 5 plus, 1 wound, leadership 7, and OC 1. Now, if you're brand new to 40k and getting into the guide for the first time, I just want to clarify something for you. That stat line there applies to each of the veteran guardsmen, not one shared stat line for all 5. So that means that each veteran guardsman has got 1 wound. So in total, the number of wounds for this unit is going to be 8. 3 on the Lord Commissar and 1 for each of the veteran guardsmen. I know that might sound like a bit of an obvious thing, but I have come across plenty of new players who have been taking all 5 of their veterans off when they lose like 1 wound. That's not how it works, guys. You get 1 wound per guy. Overall, this stat line is pretty typical for what we would expect from a guardsman-like unit. Movement 6 and pretty low durability. These guys are going to die just as easily as all of the other poor bloody infantry in your force. So you're definitely going to want a platoon of guardsmen to keep them company and to add more wounds. But we've taken a look at their defensive stat line. Now let's take a look at their offensive capabilities. Let's go down to the war gear options. So as standard, your unit comes with 1 Lord Commissar, 5 veteran guardsmen. The Lord Commissar starts off with a las pistol and power weapon, and 1 veteran guardsman comes equipped with a las pistol and chainsaw. That is the Commissar Cadet model. And then you've got 1 veteran guardsman equipped with las pistol, close combat weapon, the alchemic counter agents, basically Panzer Chocolat, and servo scribes. You've got 1 veteran guardsman equipped with las gun, close combat weapon, and master vox. 1 veteran guardsman equipped with las gun, close combat weapon, and regimental standard, and 1 veteran guardsman equipped with bolt gun, close combat weapon. This starting loadout is pretty terrible, and we're definitely going to want to upgrade it. Unfortunately, we can do. Firstly, the veteran guardsman with the bolt gun can replace his bolt gun with a flamer, grenade launcher, melter gun, or plasma gun. That's good because bolters are kind of terrible. I think the best go-to weapon for this command squad is going to be the plasma gun. It's got decent range with one shot at 24-inch range, but if you start getting up close and personal, it does start getting 2 shots. It's got good strength, it's got good AP, it's got decent damage. So I'm a big fan of the plasma gun as a take-all-comers option. However, honorable mention definitely goes to the melter gun, which at close range can deliver a hell of a punch, and the grenade launcher, which is more of a long range weapon. The only weapon here which I think is a bit of a weak one, one I definitely would never take, is the flamer. So plasma's my personal favorite, but if you go with melter gun or grenade launcher, they're not bad choices either. We can also upgrade the weapons of our commissar. The power weapon can be replaced with one power fist. Now, you're pretty much always going to want to do that because it's just a straight upgrade. The power weapon is 3 attacks, weapon skill 4, strength 4, AP -2, damage 1. And the power fist is the same number of attacks. It's the same weapon skill, but it's +2 strength, and it's the same AP, and it's double the damage. Some of you might be wondering, why the hell would I ever take the power weapon? And honestly, you wouldn't. The power fist is just the better option, and there's no points difference between them, so always take that power fist. The Lord Commissar can also be equipped with one plasma pistol. Now, what's important to note here is that the plasma pistol does not replace the las pistol. You get it in addition. So if you want to have your Lord Commissar with akimbo pistols, and he still gets to keep his power fist as well, you can absolutely do that. And when shooting his weapons, he can fire both pistols. How shooting works in 40k is you either fire all of your pistol weapons or you fire all of your other weapons. As the Commissar is only equipped with pistol weapons, he might as well fire both. Little side note here, there is an upgrade in the siege detachment, which gives, it's an enhancement, which upgrades all of the pistol weapons attacks by 2. That means that the plasma pistol would have 3 attacks and the las pistol would have 3 attacks as well. Of course, that is an upgrade that is specific to that siege detachment. For everyone else, take the free plasma pistol. It's a freebie. There's no disadvantage to doing so. We've then got a couple of upgrades for our veteran guardsman with chainsword and las pistol, which is this guy here, aka the Commissar Cadet. You can replace his chainsword with a power weapon or trench club, and you can replace his las pistol with a plasma pistol or bolt pistol. In my opinion, you're going to go for that power weapon and that plasma pistol every single time. Power weapon has just got more AP and over the trench club, and the plasma pistol is just so much better than the bolt pistol and the las pistol. And let's just do a quick rundown of all those weapon options, because if you're brand new, you might not fully appreciate the difference between a plasma pistol and a las pistol. So if we take a look at the special weapon guy first, who starts off with the bolt gun, you can see he's got 1 shot at 24-inch range, 2 shots at half range because he's got rapid fire, and then he has ballistic skill 4 plus strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. If we go over to the plasma gun, and side note for new players, always be supercharging. It's always worth the risk. It just is. Guardsmen are expendable. Damage output is always more important than their lives. But let's look at the supercharged plasma gun. You have basically the same number of shots, same ballistic skill, but your strength is literally doubled, and your AP is just 3 rather than non-existent, and your damage is doubled. So if you're not sure what all of these numbers mean, generally speaking, bigger number is better. Likewise, with the plasma pistol, you can see it's just a straight upgrade over the las pistol. Again, way more strength, way more AP, and way more damage. And if we apply the same logic to the melee weapons, you can see that even the chainsword has the most attacks. Its strength is really low, its AP is non-existent, its damage is pretty low, and then we start looking over at the power fists and we're like, yeah, bigger number is better. One quick thing to mention for the newbies is your close combat weapons in your command squads have got 2 attacks. This is different to the close combat weapons in your regular Death Corps of Krieg, sort of line infantry, battle line units. They only have 1 attack each. So your veteran guardsmen are very slightly better in close combat than your normal Kriegers. Now that just about covers the defensive stat line and the offensive capabilities of this unit. And they're nothing special to write home about. These are essentially a bunch of extra guardsmen. So what's the big deal? Why am I so excited about them? Well, it's all to do with their abilities and their war gear abilities. This is where this unit really starts to shine. So the first thing to look at is the leader ability and what units this squad can be attached to. And it can join either Death Corps of Krieg or the Krieg Combat Engineers. That was a really, really nice surprise. I have to say, I was only expecting this to be able to join the regular Kriegers, but the fact it can go to the Combat Engineers is very, very cool. However, from a gameplay perspective, from a tactical perspective, my gut instinct is telling me you're going to want to go for the Death Corps of Krieg. The reason for this is simple. Your command squad, as we'll see in a moment, is essentially a force multiplier. If you add it to a 20-man Krieg squad, then it's boosting 20 dudes. If you add it to a 5 or 10-man at best combat engineer squad, it's only boosting 10 dudes. So it's essentially economies of scale. Also, your Death Corps of Krieg have got more special weapons. Their special weapons are actually going to complement those of the command squad, because your Death Corps of Krieg can get things like plasma guns and melter guns, stuff like that. So the weapons complement each other. And finally, this command squad doesn't have the scout ability. Your combat engineers do. If you join a unit that doesn't have scout to a unit that does have scout, then no one gets scout. It doesn't transfer over. It's a very easy mistake to make. I think a lot of people go, oh, I'll take my engineers and then add my command squad to it, and now the command squad's a scout, right? Sadly not. That's not how it works. Every model in the combined unit has scout in order for them to be able to scout. So if you take a bunch of non-scouts and try and add them to a scout unit, no one gets to scout. This is why Katachan command squads and Katachans are actually really, really good, because Katachan command squads have got scout, Katachans have got scout, so everyone gets to scout. So if we proceed going forward with the idea that we're going to be attaching these to Death Corps of Krieg blobs, and we're probably going to be adding them to big 20-man blobs, let's start looking at some of the other abilities. Starting with a fairly straightforward one, we've got Voice of Command, which means this unit can do orders, and it can issue one order to a regiment unit. Now, regiment units aren't just Death Corps of Krieg. That means this guy can, in theory, order things like Cadians, Katachans, Kazakin, anything that's got the regiment keyword, including Sentinels as well. However, because he's only got one order, most of the time, he's just going to be ordering the unit that he is leading. And if you want my advice on what orders I think are good for Krieg command squads and the attending Death Corps of Krieg blobs, I think your go-to should pretty much always be take aim, because that just makes you shoot better and more damage is always good. But if you haven't got any targets to shoot, you can't go wrong with a cheeky take cover. That's going to improve your save. Special shout out as well, though, to one of the best orders of the game, which is move, 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 which gives you more movement. It gives you +3 to your move characteristic. So that means your Krieg command squad and the Kriegers that they would be leading would all be on movement 9. That can help you get onto objectives and stuff. Those tend to be my 3 go-to orders, generally speaking, and especially my 3 go-to orders for big blobs of infantry. But all of these abilities we've looked at so far have been pretty run-of-the-mill. Command squads joining units, being able to do orders. Let's get to the specific stuff. Let's get to the unique stuff, and we'll start off with Grim Determination. Now, arguably, I think this might be the best command squad ability for all of the Imperial Guard. Out of Cadians, Katachans, and Kriegers, I think Grim Determination is amazing. Here's how it works. While this unit contains an officer, you can target this unit with stratagems even while it is battle shocked, and orders issued to this unit do not cease to affect this unit if it becomes battle shocked. This is such a big deal because If your unit, let's say this big blob of 20 guardsmen, become battle shocked, they no longer get the benefit of orders for that turn. Obviously, next turn they might pass the battle shock test and they'll be okay. But for that turn, they can miss out on orders. That means no more of that extra damage output, no more of that extra durability, no more of that extra potential movement. And it also means that they can't be targeted by any stratagem. So you might not be able to use grenades, or you might not be able to use any of the new really good stratagems that we've got in the various detachments. So Grim Determination basically goes, well, don't worry. Even if you fail your battle shock test, you can still have orders and you can still have stratagems. That is a really, really big deal. It essentially solves one of the biggest Achilles heels of big blobs of guardsmen. Because all well and good having loads of objective control and having access to loads of great stratagem and having loads of orders, but if you just can't take advantage of those, your guardsmen fall apart. Let me tell you, a guard infantry unit without an order is not worth the paper it's written on. So this guy is not only going to be ordering units, but he's also going to be protecting those orders. And with the new guard codex, we've got access to a whole bunch of fantastic stratagems. And this guy is going to protect those as well. You can also just take advantage of this in a really simple way for things like grenades. Worst case scenario, when you've just got like a demon primarch barreling down at you and you just need to be able to get that grenades off, but you fail your backshot test and then Magnus starts filling your ass in. Well, now even a few shattered guardsmen can still get the job done. Now, just to deep dive this a little bit further, what I like about this ability is it doesn't specify Lord Commissar. It says an officer. Now, the reason this is important is because all of your battle line squads of guardsmen, your Kriegers, your Cadians, your Catachans, and also your Scions now, even though they're not battle line less than a bridgehead detachment, can all have 2 characters attached. So, on the off chance that someone snipes out your Lord Commissar, if you've still got a regular Commissar leading that unit or another officer, well, you're okay. Because the unit still contains an officer, so Grim Determination still gets to trigger. So it's not likely to come up. I'll be honest with you, most of the time you're probably just going to have this one command squad leading the blob. But in those times when you do have 2 officers in one unit, Grim Determination is going to be kicking around for a while. I also like how Grim Determination combos with the Leadership 6 and how it combos with the Regimental Standard, if we just skip down to the war gear abilities here. Now, Leadership 6 means that you're rarely going to fail your battle shock. You're rarely going to. But if you do, Grim Determination's got you covered on the order front and on the stratagem front. But you could still go down to bad OC, bad objective control. This is where the Regimental Standard comes in. Add 1 to the objective control characters and models in the bearer's unit. Now, how it works for all you new players and some veterans alike, I do see people getting this wrong all the time, is when you become battle shocked, your OC becomes 0. Then you apply multiplication modifiers to your OC. Then you apply addition or subtraction modifiers to your OC. So to go through this step by step, let's say you are a platoon of guardsmen that's become battle shock, but you've got a Krieg command squad in there. Your OC value becomes 0. If you had an ability that went double your OC, well, 0 doubled is still 0. But then the next step is addition or subtraction modifiers. So you've got 0, you go to 0, 0 times 2 is 0, but then 0 plus 1 is 1. So that's the sequence to apply modifiers. You have objective control, then you have multiplication modifiers, then you have addition modifiers. So if you're OC 0 with a long story short, that's all a bit complicated. Long story short, if this unit is leading a blob of Kriegers and they get battle shocked and you still have the Regimental Standard, your unit's objective control is 1 per model. Because your Kriegers plus the command squad all benefit from the regimental standard. This is what I was saying. It's a huge force multiplier, this unit. All of these war gear abilities, all of these grim determination abilities, they apply not only to the command squad, but also the unit they're leading. So long story short, if you take a Krieg command squad and attach it to a Death Court of Krieg unit, that entire blob essentially becomes pseudo-immune to battle shock. You get to be completely insulated against nearly all of the negative effects. That's going to be fantastic for when you're trying to score primary points and you're fighting over objectives, who's got the most objective control. And it's going to be fantastic when you're trying to do secondary game as well. But let's move on to some of these other war gear abilities, and we'll have a look at the alchemic counter agents, aka that World War II German chocolate that gave you a lot of energy. The bearer's unit has the Feel No Pain 6+ ability against mortal wounds. Oh, dearie me. This is terrible. Straight up terrible. This is probably going to be forgotten about. It might come up here and there, but it's not a great ability at all. If it was just a straight up 6 Feel No Pain against all wounds, then it would be okay. As someone who has used a lot of medics over the last 18 months with the index, when they used to give you the 6 Feel No Pain, it was all right, but there's been plenty of times that I've rolled like 10, 12 Feel No Pains and just not got any of them, because fishing for 6s is never statistical and never reliable. But, you know, it would have been okay. But the fact that it's a 6 Feel No Pain and that it's only against mortal wounds, nah, don't worry about this ability, guys. Unless you happen to face off against, like Grey Knights all the time, or you just face off against mortal wounds all the time. It's not going to even come up, and to be honest, even if it does come up, it's probably not going to save you very much at all. Quick side note here. Some people might look at this alchemic counter agent and think, what the hell, how come other command squads like the Kachan command squad and the KD command squad have proper medics that can like bring back D3 guys a turn, and we have some rubbish Feel No Pain against mortal wounds? Don't panic. Your Kriegers get to bring guys back as well, but that ability is found in the Death Court of Krieg datasheet and with their medipack. And they actually get to bring back more people than the Katachans and the Cadians. So Kriegers still actually have the best medics. But that ability isn't on this datasheet, because if you had the Kriegers being able to bring back loads of guys and then the command squad being able to bring back loads of guys, it probably would have been a little bit out of control. So for balance purposes, essentially, our medic here isn't that good, but you're not actually missing out on anything in comparison to the other infantry choices. So some of you might be thinking, though, that this alchemic counter agent's bozo is basically useless. You would prefer that you could take an extra plasma gun or something. Well, hold your horses, because he doesn't just have the counter agents, he's also got the servo scribes. And let me tell you, this is the real reason to take this guy. He's not a medic at all. He's a goddamn author. He's a goddamn novelist. He's got the servo scribes. Once per battle, when issuing an order, the Lord Commissar can issue one additional order. This means that once per battle, your Lord Commissar can do 2 orders instead of 1. This is amazing. This is great. More orders is always better. Remember what I said earlier? A guard unit without an order is not worth the paper it's written on. This is just a way of getting more orders into your army. And if you're someone that wants to play like pure Krieg, and you want to take 120 Kriegers, all in those big blob squads, but because you can only take 3 command squads, you're like, well, I can only do like 3 orders, so half my infantry are running around without orders. This is one way that you can start to get around that, because you can be like, okay, let's have a big go turn, all 6 blobs, all with orders, let's go, 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 let's push, push, push. However, it is only once per battle, so you are going to have to pick when and where to use this. And there's going to be a little bit of skill involved with how you pop these servo scribes. I do really like these servo scribes because they pair well with the Master Vox. Each time the officer in the bearer's unit issues an order, it can issue it to an eligible unit up to 24 inches away. Now, this is really important because you've only got one order, and like we said, you're probably going to be ordering it on the squad that you're leading, that's right next to you. So if you had only one order and a Master Vox, well, there's going to be some times when your Lord Commissar is going to want like a long-range order, but most of the time, he's just going to be ordering the thing that's right in front of him. Servo Scribes makes Master Vox a lot less situational because it means that there's going to be plenty of opportunities. I think every single battle is going to come up where you go, right, I'm popping Servo Scribes and doing 2 orders. One of those orders is going to affect the unit I'm leading, and one of those orders is going to affect a unit that's really, really far away. And if you want an example of what I think is a great use of the 1-pop Servo Scribes and the Master Vox, it's combining your Krieg blobs with Krieg combat engineers. Because your combat engineers are going to be small units, ones that aren't going to last probably past the first turn here and there. You're going to want to be able to get those mortal wounds flowing quickly. That's what your combat engineers do. They can throw grenades, they start blowing mines up. It's really, really cool. So what you do is when the engineers go for it and start throwing grenades and making a big nuisance of themselves, you go, right, I'm going to go for move on those engineers. So they're going to be able to scout move, then they're going to be able to move, then they're going to be able to start throwing grenades at 8 inches, and they're going to start doing the remote mine from 12 inches away. That actually works really, really nicely. And then inevitably, the Krieg engineers, because they're 5 guardsmen, are going to die. And it's like, well, that's all right, because I don't need 2 orders anymore, because the second unit I was ordering has gone to meet the Emperor. I think turn 1 or go turn, whenever it happens, Krieg engineers plus the Servo Scribes plus the Master Vox, because the engineers are probably going to be quite far away because of the scout move and everything, is a great way of delivering some early mortal wounds without bottlenecking yourself on orders. And that just about covers everything about the Krieg command squad. So in summary, it's a slightly chunkier command squad that has some decent war gear, but where it really shines is in its abilities. And that is the most important part, because at the end of the day, guys, you can't expect a few guardsmen, even if they're veteran guardsmen, be able to go toe-to-toe in melee with things like Khorne Berserkers, or be able to outshoot Tau Crisis Suits. I mean, maybe that's what the Lord Commissar will tell you, but from a balance point of view, you can't really expect that. What you want these guys to be able to do is act as a force multiplier, to be able to improve the units and your army as a whole. And that's exactly what they do. They fulfill the fundamental core role of guard officers, and they do it really well. Fantastic leadership, great abilities, and some really decent war gear as well. Overall, I give them max score, top score for flavor, the fact they're led by a Lord Commissar, and I give them max score for balance, and I give them max score for potential in your army. If I was a cheated occultist, I'd be giving 3 thumbs up right now. But of course, all of that is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Are you hot for the Krieg Command Squad, or are you not? And out of Kriegers, Catachans, and Cadians, which Command Squad tickles your fancy the most? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to go ahead and like the video and subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members, and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.